Today I'm going to show you guys how to do BabyBoomer nails. Hey guys, Liz here from the Nail Hub, and a lot of you have requested me to show you how to do BabyBoomer nails. BabyBoomer nails are essentially pink and white nails where the pink fades into the white or the white fades into the pink, often referred to as French ombre. And I wanted to quickly give you guys a little tutorial. So, couple of pointers. A lot of you are probably going to ask me as you watch my video. A lot of you guys are probably going to ask me like, hey, I have white gel. Can I just use the white gel that I have and add clear? And the answer is no, especially because most of the white gel is extremely pigmented. It usually has titanium oxide as the pigment in it, and it's not as, I don't know what you want to call it, like forgiving when you mix gel into it. So let me just show you really quick. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white here. And again, it can be gel polish, it can be art gel or whatever you have that's already white. I totally get that you guys are going to want to use this, but I've experimented with this and it really requires a very specific type of white. So even if I put a little bit of clear in here to try and make a semi-clear white for building, and you'll see in a second why we need more of a sheer white. The problem with it is when you look at it up close, it has this like, you can see the white particles in it. Let me see if I can zoom in close enough for you to see. So it always will have this kind of like streaky appearance, and a lot of times you'll be able to even see the white particulates in the clear gel, and it just makes for a very rough looking BabyBoomer. We really want something that's going to be super, super, super milky. So I find that trying to mix the white and the clear together definitely can lead to issues with the way that it looks. Like it'll look super opaque in one spot and less opaque in another. So you really want to look for a gel that is already semi opaque white that's already been like really well mixed. So here's like a perfect example. Can you see how smooth that looks and how it's almost off-white? It's not really bright white. It doesn't have that same oxide look to it. It's not as chalky or pigmented. It's got this kind of glossy, gooey, semi-transparent type of white look to it. And I find that the self-leveling gels are better. So you're going to want like a builder in a bottle or some type of builder gel that has this already pre-mixed kind of semi-opaque white in it. And a lot of times if you just look for BabyBoomer white or you look for sheer white or something, you'll be able to find something like this. And I like using an actual type of builder gel. So today I'm using Jimmy Gel from La Elegance. It's their Boomer White. And this is a building base that I can use out of a bottle. But honestly, you could use, any type of builder that has that kind of same semi-sheer white color to it. Okay? All right, so you're going to start with your prepped nail. So I have buffed this nail tip here, and you're going to start with your white. Now you could put base coat on here if you want to. I'm using more of like that builder in a bottle type of product, so I don't need to do that, but you can put your bonders, your primers, whatever you normally work with, your base coat, if that's what your system requires. Definitely go ahead and put your base layer down, but for this quick video, I just wanted to show you what this looks like. And I'm just going to pick up some gel here and put it on the tip of the nail. And you want it to kind of have a little bit of meat to it, because essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have two mountains that meet in the valley, which is going to be essentially in the middle. Okay, so go ahead and put like a big dollop on the end of the finger. And then with the same brush, you can scrape most of it off, or if you're using a different brush, scrape off some of the product. And just gently pull this back. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of want it to be a little bit blended. Okay, so it can be literally like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, and if you want to smear some of this off, we can. But we want most of the thickness to be here on the tip of the nail because we want the pink when it comes out to be very thin on the tip of the nail and most of the pink to be thicker up in the apex area, and that's going to create that blend. I'm just going to wipe off this little bit of gel here. Okay, so go ahead and cure this for whatever time your system requires, and then we're going to move on to the pink. Okay, so we have the white cured, and you can see you want to have kind of a hump on the tip of the nail so that when we build this up, again, the white is going to come through the pink more, and then there's going to be more pink up here in the apex area. So I'm going to use Jimmy Gel Ideal Pink for this step. Again, any type of semi-opaque builder gel type product like this. It could be potted hard gel. It literally could be anything. You just want it to be semi-transparent. And you can use whatever shade of pink that you like. If you like more of like a pinky pink or you like more of a peachy pink, whatever you want, just make sure that it's got some translucency to it. All right, so I'm going to do a wet layer first. Just to help me spread the gel around. Okay, you can already see how like the white still peeks through even when I've got pink on the nail, especially on the free edge. So now we're going to put our dollop and we're going to build that apex area. And just walk it out like so. Let it self-level. Okay. And then once this comes out, we will finish file it as well. Okay, so when this comes out of the lamp, you should have something that looks like this. So it's already going to have kind of that BabyBoomer look to it. And you're going to want most of your pink gel concentration to be up here, where we're kind of building this nice smooth apex layer. And then remember that hump of white that I had down there, the pink is going to blend into that hump of white, and it's going to help create the transition between the pink and the white when I start to finish violet. So I am going to cleanse this and take off my sticky layer here. Let me just grab a wipe really quick. Okay, so just cleanse off the tacky layer. I might need to push my tip back in because I'm using my artificial finger. Okay, and then we are going to finish file this, and you're just going to finish file it very lightly just to perfect the shaping, because obviously if we look, let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit to show you. So if we look down the barrel, it's got just like a little bit of thickness here on the sides. So I want to perfect that, and then I'm just going to make sure it's perfectly smooth on the top. Okay, so just with like a 180 grit nail file, I'm just going to go through this really lightly. And again, light pressure is important because we don't want to take off too much product. But you'll see when we start to smooth out that area right by the free edge, it starts to blend everything together. Now, depending on the pink that you're using and the white that you're using, you might get a slightly different effect. So if I was using a much softer pink, it would be a much softer transition. I'm using more of like that kind of peachy, more opaque pink. And I'll show you a couple of different examples. And basically you should have a nail that looks like this when you're done. So the pink fades into the white. And I really like matte top coat on BabyBoomer nails. I think matte top coat looks the prettiest because it helps diffuse the light more and then helps to, you know, kind of make it look like it blends better. And if you have little bubbles, so all these white dots right here, this happens all the time when you're working with gel product and actually with a lot of different product. These little tiny bubbles right here that popped and they have filing dust in them, don't worry about those too much. If they really bug you, you can actually scrub the nail with some nail cleanser or with some rubbing alcohol, or you can even use some like non-acid primer, like a protein bond type product, and it'll help absorb that. But usually they get camouflaged by the top coat anyway, so don't worry about those. So I'm just gonna let this dry. And then I'll put some matte top coat on top. And I'm going to use Light Elegance Flat Matte. Just make sure it's nice and coated. And let me focus a little bit. There we go. So then you end up with this really pretty soft blended pink into white, which is basically called a boomer nail. And you can make these any length that you want. You can make them natural length. You can make them super long. But it is a really, really pretty effect to have that pink fading into white. And you can do this also with acrylic nails. The technique is slightly different, but it's the same idea with you're basically creating these two mounds of product that meet in the middle. So our white needs to be highest here and our pink needs to be highest here. And then we're going to be blending them right here about in the middle. So you kind of have these two mountains that go into a valley. And then in the valley is where the two layers kind of start to blend. And then you can see the two colors coming through. But you do need to have your white relatively high on the tip and your pink thicker towards the cuticle. So depending on the pink that you choose, it could be a super, super subtle transition. Like this is, I mean, this is really pretty too. This is the soft pink instead of the ideal pink. And it just has like even that much more subtle of a transition between the pink and the white. I didn't even finish file this yet, so the white is still pretty well covered with pink. But you can make it super, super soft like this. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight too is just that if you kind of change the concentration of product between the pink and the white, a lot of times it might end up being more of a harsh line. So this doesn't look as harsh on camera as it does in person, but depending on if you didn't put enough white, like you kind of want your pink and your white to be a gradual valley. So don't have it be just like this big bump of white and then nothing after it. You need it to kind of transition into the pink and then from the pink into the white. So if you don't have enough in between, you're going to get a much more solid white line here than the blending in between. So if we just like compare these two together, can you see how like the white goes up higher on the one that I've got on the right, and then on the left it looks more like a solid white line? That kind of helps you see the difference between the two. They both look pretty well blended, but this left one in person looks a lot more harsh than the one on the right. So just a quick little tip for you guys, just watch your white transition because that's usually the key. And like you can see, like I'm still able to get like a nice apex on the right side. So you want to have like that more thicker area of white that gradually blends into the pink. But that's essentially how you do a BabyBoomer nail. It is something that requires some practice, but it definitely isn't really complicated. It's just a matter of getting that perfect mix between the pink and the white. And also, like I told you guys, making sure that you use a white gel that is you know, semi-translucent and not trying to mix your own, unless you have a really creamy white to begin with. But if you're using like a very heavy white out white type of gel and you're trying to mix clear in it, it's always going to look kind of streaky and kind of chalky. So look for something that's intended, you know, as far as like a creamy white type of color. And I really encourage you guys to try this. I really love this look, and I hope you guys are able to do it. All right, thanks. Bye.